Hey guys, we're going to be talking about this topic today, and if you are a non-artist, an author maybe, or someone planning to commission an artist, then please listen to this video because this concerns you too. So recently I have been active on Threads, mainly in the author and art section, and I saw this one thread that caught my attention. So there was this one author who was waiting in queue for an art commission, and this author asked the artist for a time lapse because from what she has been seeing online, it seemed like asking for time lapses is just something normal that you're supposed to do to prove the artist isn't using AI. But the artist was surprised, was actually surprised at being asked for a time lapse. And that happened to be the first time anyone asked this artist for a time lapse. And so she asked the author, like, why would the author want a time lapse? Because the artist was going to provide her with progress shots of the artwork anyway. So I can understand why the author was thinking about how the artist not immediately saying yes to the time lapse was concerning, because even I thought it was weird to not just immediately say yes, because I think it's just because I've seen a lot of people talking about time lapses before on YouTube, so I'm very biased, especially because I'm the artist. I just didn't actually know how popular it was to ask for time lapses from artists. So after that, I went on YouTube and I watched a bunch of videos, AI related, just to catch up, just to see what art channels would say these days. And yeah, quite a lot of them mention how time lapses are just easy to provide because so many drawing apps come with it now, the time lapse feature. And so many of these YouTubers said the same thing, that it made me think that this is actually a really popular thing to do, to ask for time lapses. And if you're watching this, then you probably know that people these days, people ask for time lapses just to make sure they won't get scammed. But from another perspective, this artist might not know that people are talking about this. Maybe because she just doesn't concern herself with it. Like maybe she just doesn't keep up with what's going on online. Who knows? And I saw this one video from Wasabiato about how an AI user pretended to be an artist. And this AI user even bought Clip Studio Paint and a tablet, but chose to keep faking it doing art anyway. And there was this one point in the video where the AI user turned a bunch of layers on and off just to show you what would happen. And what happened was entire limbs and heads and just like big important elements in the painting, in the drawing, would just disappear. And I mean fully rendered heads and arms and legs would just disappear. And I know that AI generated time lapse are also a thing. I mean, come on, like, because as artists, we will always be able to tell if it's fake. So that leaves me wondering about non-artists asking for time lapses. Like, are you sure you will be able to tell that the time lapse they'll show you is real? Because if you see layers being turned off, making huge chunks of the painting just disappear, will you be able to tell also that that's real or fake? Like normally when you turn off a layer, the artwork will look uglier. Like as you keep turning off more and more layers, you'll finally end up with a sketch, assuming the sketch wasn't deleted. And yeah, I would say artists do that. We make sketches and then we turn the sketches into drawings. And I can agree with some of these things because I used to do that years ago. And almost every artist draws this way. Like big or small time artists, this is just how I draw. They start with a sketch. But when it comes to me, I used to draw with line art and with color underneath, of course, keeping all of the colors from spilling out, classic. And the thing about my line art is I just don't sketch them first. What I do is I go straight into line art, like how I'm doing this one commission right now for an author client of mine. And if you commission me, I would provide you a rough sketch because you're my client and you're asking for it. But if I'm drawing for myself, then I just won't sketch. I'll just go straight to line art. So that's one thing that I do differently than other artists. And also, over the years, my art has evolved, and now these days my art look more like my artworks look more like this. This is what it looks like instead of this. So this is the way I used to draw. And I wouldn't have been able to achieve this if I didn't make changes to how I made art. Like, I had to almost force myself to draw in as few layers as possible, keeping it down to one layer whenever I can. And if not for the entire drawing, then at least for each major section of the art. Just keep it down to one layer if I can. So these days, if you would open my Procreate, what you would typically see is just like 6 or 7 layers per artwork. That would dramatically remove big chunks of the artwork. And you won't see my usual 30 and 50 layers that I used to do anymore in the past. And this actually comes with some benefits for me. And one of them is a smaller file size, which is a big deal for me because I'm running out of storage on my iPad. And I even delete the time lapses of some old artwork just so I can free up some storage space on my iPad. So it's normal for you to open one of my older artworks and see the time lapse isn't even there because I just don't need it anymore. And another benefit would be how easy it is to make changes to the artwork if I don't like certain elements in the art, because there's just very few layers. And for example, if I don't like the way one of my characters' faces look, I can just delete the entire thing, like the entire face. I can just erase it and then draw in a new face that looks better than before. It's that easy because I don't have many layers. And I learned how to do this by observing my favorite digital artist, which is Ruan Jia, and he's the type. He's the type to always flatten his layers so he can keep everything down to just one layer. And I'm going to show you right now. So I've seen him create paintings like this, just like this one, in a 3-hour video, from start to finish. And I mean from a blank canvas all the way to finished in just 3 hours. But the thing is, with the first and last 30 minutes is actually him just talking to chat. So really, he can make these artworks in only 2 hours. And this artist, Ruan Jia, is not some shady, unknown artist. He's actually a very big name artist that has made art for Elden Ring, God of War, and World of Warcraft, like stuff like that. So people like this actually exist, guys. And his software of choice is always Photoshop, by the way. And as of now, in June 2026, and I checked, Photoshop still does not have a time-lapse feature. And this artist, Ruan Jia, it's not like he's going to turn on OBS every time he draws just so he can record the entire process, right? Because I have my time lapses, I have them, just because in Procreate they're on by default. And if you think of what it would look like if this painting by Ruan Jia is a commission that you paid for, it'll probably be like this. So you tell him what you want him to draw, and then you pay him, and then he uses Photoshop to draw for you, and then he delivers you the drawing. And then if you ask him to give you the Photoshop file, then the Photoshop file will only have one layer. And if you asked him for the time lapse, you won't get any because Photoshop just doesn't come with a time lapse feature. So now here you are with your finished artwork. It looks really good, but there's no time lapse and no layers. So does that make him an AI user? Does that make me an AI user? Of course not. But to be honest, as I kept watching more and more videos on YouTube talk about time lapses and layers, and people in the comment section also talking about it too, I started to feel like everybody was actually talking about me. Painting in very few layers, or painting in just one layer and no time lapse. Yeah, I kind of do all that, at least these days. But I'm lucky enough to prefer drawing in Procreate and not Photoshop. So the time lapse feature for my recent drawings are always on. I just happen to delete the time lapses of my older art, so just because I don't think I'll ever need them anymore. because I'm running out of storage. So let me just give you an example. I'll show you this. I'm working on this splash art for my world building project Persevera, and this thing's huge. It's like 6K. And it's not even halfway finished, but this file size is already at 800 megabytes. So it's almost 1 gigabyte, right? And it probably will exceed 1 gigabyte by the time I finish this. So I'll most likely be deleting the time lapse for this one too. So, having said all that, what do you think? Do you know of a better way other than time lapses and unconventional layer choices, layer management, being the signs that an artist is fake? Maybe you are a non-artist and you want to share your thoughts on this, or maybe you are an artist like me who uses very few layers and doesn't really sketch, or if not at all, and you're wondering about the same thing. Let me know your thoughts. And that's going to be it for this video, and I'll be seeing you again in the next one.